A little bit. We know that Justin Fields will be there week 1 for the Jets. Adam, what is the latest on Aaron Rodgers, and could this become a double quarterback reunion game?
Laura, right now, everybody still is in a holding pattern. And we have heard the Steelers owner, Art Rooney, come out and say that he believes Aaron Rodgers ultimately will sign with Pittsburgh. Here we are in the middle of May. There hasn't been much progress to date. I would think that next month, the Pittsburgh Steelers have a mandatory minicamp. It would be logical to think that if Aaron Rodgers is going to come back and play this season, and most people still believe he will, despite the fact that he's been non-committal so far, that the logical time to do that would be before the Steelers' mandatory minicamp, which I believe is June 10th to the 12th. Hard to skip a mandatory minicamp and then decide to just show up right before training camp, step in, new teammates, new offense, new coaches, new city, new home, new everything, and think that you could just pick up and start going at that point in time. So if he's going to sign with Pittsburgh, I think we're a few weeks away from it potentially happening, and that would be the logical time. And if it does happen, the schedule's all set up for him to go up against all his former teams, including the New York Jets in week 1.
Yeah, RC, I think this game's interesting, even if it doesn't happen, that for whatever reason Aaron Rodgers doesn't become a Steeler. What are you looking out for in this matchup with the Jets and Steelers?
Well, what I will be looking out for as a father is hopefully Jordan makes the team, and then his first game ever as a New York Jet in the league could be against my former team. I think that would be extremely cool, and I might get an opportunity to be there. But I also want to look at what Aaron Glenn and how Aaron Glenn puts his imprint on the New York Jets. When we think about the Pittsburgh Steelers, they're synonymous with Mike Tomlin, synonymous with what we think of him as a leader, with what we think of him as a head coach. The Jets have not had that in their building since Rex Ryan was let go. Can Aaron Glenn be a guy that comes back, instills pride into this locker room, a guy that instills hustle into this locker room, aggressiveness, physicality, and can they finally find their quarterback of the future in Justin Fields? I know what the Pittsburgh Steelers will be without Aaron Rodgers. What we don't know is who we'll get from the New York Jets, and that'll be our first opportunity to see it.
Yeah, the Jets defense, Ryan, I think you would agree, felt like they were playing below their talent level last year. So can Aaron Glenn come in and get them playing back to it and beyond? I think I'm optimistic about. I have a lot of questions about the offense, though, which is not his side of the ball. You got first-time offensive coordinator, Tanner Engstrand. He's coming from Detroit. So we know what the Lions offense looked like. Under center, play action. They had a quarterback in Jared Goff whose bread and butter was shot plays, play action, middle of the field. Does Justin Fields fit into that? Conversely, Tanner Engstrand and the Lions, quarterback run was not on the menu in Detroit. Can he build a robust quarterback run game around Justin Fields? This is a ascending offensive line with good backs and a very dynamic running quarterback. They should have a good run game, and that could actually challenge Pittsburgh early on because that's something that they struggled at, particularly at the end of the season, stopping the run.
Right, Mina, if you look at the Pittsburgh Steelers, especially interior, they understood that defensively. I believe that's why they went defensive tackle to start this draft at number 21. But if you're the New York Jets, it's about understanding you can't bring Detroit to New York. You have to understand that your quarterback has an entirely different skill set than Jared Goff. And so to me, it is going to be to use this running game, to use this physicality up front, but to combine that with the quarterback run. And to me, that's how they get into their play action shot game, which will differ from what we saw with David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs, and the Detroit Lions under Ben Johnson.
Yeah, it's going to be some tough sledding either way for the Jets early on. They face the Steelers, Bills, and Bucks in their first 3 games in 2025. All 3 of those teams made the playoffs last year. Now, Fields versus the Steelers isn't the only notable reunion game this year. Ben Johnson facing his former team twice with the Bears this year. Mike Vrabel heads to Tennessee in Week 7. Adam pointed out last night he'll act like it's no big deal, but still. And the Seahawks have a couple of guys playing their former teams. Cooper Kupp gets the Rams in Week 11 and 16. Sam Darnold gets the Vikings in Week 13. Mina, any of those reunion games pique your interest?
Sam Darnold against the Vikings, because they went to the playoffs with him. They were unbelievable during the regular season, but they made a decision to go with the young quarterback, a decision we all agreed with. But there's a chance now for Darnold to come in and say, hey, you guys made the wrong choice. I'm still that dude. And that, to me, is going to be really interesting to see. He also has to go up against, by the way, one of the most tricky defenses in the NFL, with Brian Flores now on the other side, which can't be fun.
You know what I'm excited about is that matchup as well, but it's if the Seattle Seahawks decide that Jalen Milroe is going to be a part of the game plan. We watched the Pittsburgh Steelers do a little bit of that with Justin Fields for a second in the season once Russell Wilson returned, but we didn't see a ton of it. Can we see a true sort of two-quarterback system where Jalen Milroe has a special package where you can utilize his athleticism? Because I believe where he's drafted in the 3rd round, he could provide value as a weapon for this offense, much like we used to see Taysom Hill do for the New Orleans Saints.
Well, just like Sam Darnold gets a chance to go up against a team that moved on from him, Mike Vrabel gets to do the same. And I know he won't be out there playing, although I would imagine he'll be channeling the energy that he feels that week right into his players to go up against the team that fired him. Let's not forget that. The Tennessee Titans fired one of the best head coaches in football, who wound up resurfacing this year in New England as a head coach a year after he worked with the Browns offensive line. And something tells me, as you mentioned there, Laura, I don't think he'll admit it that week, but I think that game is going to have some special meaning to Mike Vrabel in Week 7 when the Patriots play the Titans.
He might admit it behind closed doors, right? The other one that sticks out to me, you guys, is the Cooper Kupp reunion. It felt like maybe he wasn't utilized as much in that Rams offense later. It didn't go the way that they wanted it to go. He's going to have a chance to show them what's up. Ryan, go ahead. Laura,
you know what's interesting about that, right? The social media clip of Sean McVay that went viral with him speaking about Davante Adams and what Davante Adams brings to this team. It almost felt to me, now everything he said was true, and you're getting a guy who's a future Hall of Famer, but it almost felt to me that he had to tell the team, yes, I love Cooper Kupp. He did all of these great things for us, but look what this guy we brought in instead of him or for him can do as well. Like, don't miss 10 too much because we have 17.
Yeah, and 10's like, I'm going to make you miss me. All right, we're just getting started on NFL Live, you guys. Welcome to NFL Live, everybody. The 2025 NFL schedule officially has been released. Look at that. Has been released in big letters. I love it. It comes out swinging early. Some heavy hitter matchups. The defending champs are hosting the Cowboys. The Chiefs headed to Brazil, taking on the Chargers, and so much more. We're glad you're with us today. We got Mina Kimes, Ryan Clark, Adam Schefter along for the ride. There's a lot to get to, you guys. So let's talk about the games that we're most excited. Mina, kick us off. What stuck out to you?
I'm going to start with an easy one. Week 1, Ravens-Bills. I mean, come on, right? You've got the reigning MVP versus the guy who almost won MVP, so you could argue it's a revenge game for Lamar, but it's also a revenge game for these Buffalo Bills, because last time they played in the regular season, the Ravens went into Buffalo and stomped on them. So I'm really excited to see these two teams face off. Should be two of the best teams in the AFC. A test immediately for both squads ahead of the season.
Well, you know, I tried to give Lydell like 6 other games before we finally got to this one, but apparently all of those games were already in the rundown. So I went all the way to Christmas to the Commanders and the Cowboys. Again, Mina Kimes last year showed out for the family on Netflix, and I can't wait to see where the Cowboys are in this gauntlet of games they have after Week 11. And we know that Jayden Daniels made his name down the stretch of last season, and we get to see him as a gift on Christmas from old St. Nick.
All right, the last time the Cowboys played in Philadelphia in Week 1 was 1970, 55 years ago. It came at Franklin Field the last year before the Eagles moved into the Vet, which they're no longer at. Well, the Cowboys, for the first time in 55 years, are back in Philadelphia in Week 1. It's the Thursday night opener. It's the kickoff to the whole season. It gets us ready for all these other games that we're talking about. So Cowboys and Eagles, Week 1, let's go, baby.
Oh, let's go. I love that, Adam. I'm excited for Bears and Commanders, Week 6. On Monday Night Football, the quarterback matchup, it's always going to be a fascinating connection between Caleb Williams and Jayden Daniels, going 1-2 overall in the 2024 NFL Draft. But remember last year, it was the crazy Hail Mary to win that game for the Commanders, really changed trajectories of both of those teams' seasons. So can't wait to see that one once again, and it'll be right here on ABC and ESPN. Now, speaking of Monday Night Football, here's a look at the full schedule. We're going to have a total of 23 games across our ESPN family of networks, ABC, ESPN Plus, and ESPN, including doubleheaders in Week 2, Week 4, Week 6, Week 7, and the final week of the season. Mina, when you look at that schedule in its entirety, what stands out to you about Monday Night Football?
I'm really interested in Philadelphia traveling to Green Bay, a rematch of last week's Week 1 game in Brazil. And you remember that game, of course, Jordan Love got hurt. We were worried he was out for the season. He came back, but it kind of felt like the Packers had ups and downs after that point. These are two very good teams. I think teams a lot of us expect, obviously, to be in the playoffs next year, the Eagles being the reigning Super Bowl champs. So it's a big test for a young Green Bay team that is going to be looking to get over the hump of losing the playoffs last season.
You know what? It's also always exciting to see the teams that earn their way onto Monday night. Look at the Carolina Panthers. Think about where we all were in Philadelphia. I believe it was early on in the season, maybe week 2 or 3. And we were talking about Bryce Young maybe never getting another opportunity to be the starting quarterback for the Carolina Panthers. But we're going to see them on Monday Night Football versus the San Francisco 49ers in Santa Clara. And then also you think about some of these other teams like Chargers, Eagles. The Chargers trying to ascend. They get a running back early on in this draft. And now you have Jim Harbaugh with his opportunity to truly put his imprint on this team against the defending champion. And I think that what's big for me as well is the Cowboys. The Cowboys, before their bye, they're on Monday Night Football. And then in Week 11, they come back and they're on Monday Night Football. And then they start a gauntlet of games that gives them 6 games in less than a month. So if they don't play big on that Monday night right after their bye, it could be downhill for Jerry and America's team.
And we're going to see some teams on Monday night that we don't ordinarily see. You mentioned the Carolina Panthers, the Jacksonville Jaguars on Monday Night Football, and clearly the league believes in the Atlanta Falcons this year because they're scheduled for 2 home games on Monday Night Football, 5 primetime games in all. So the Falcons liked Michael Penix at number 8 in last year's draft, and so did the NFL apparently by scheduling the Falcons as often as they have in primetime.
Go Falcons. Okay, maybe the NFL has an idea that Aaron Rodgers will be a Steeler with this Week 1 matchup. Okay, did you guys see this? The Jets and Rodgers' old team, of course, facing the Steelers, Justin Fields' old team. I mean, it's just fascinating all the way around. Now, obviously, we don't know for sure that Rodgers will be a Jet, but Adam's going to tell you a little bit. A Steeler. Adam's going to tell you a little bit more about that in just.
Xin chào tất cả các bạn. Chào mừng các bạn đã đến với kênh YouTube của mình. Ngày hôm nay mình sẽ là một chiếc video, đó là tô mò những sản phẩm hoa quả, con vật, đồ vật, vân vân. Các bạn chưa biết sản phẩm gì đúng không? Thì hãy xem hết video của mình nhé. Nếu các bạn thích những sản phẩm nào trong những video thì các bạn hãy comment xuống để mình sẽ làm theo nha các bạn. Và bây giờ chúng ta cùng đi tô mò nào.
Mình sẽ tiếp tục tô mò nhé các bạn.